Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of Crafternoon with Camrose Public Library. I am Nicole, I'm one of the program coordinators here, and I have a cute little winter craft for you guys today. Pretty simple, all you need, scissors, a glue stick, 2 pieces of white printer paper, a scrap of one of your favorite colors, just make sure it has a long edge, or you can color a piece of white paper, a little scrap of orange paper, a marker, and some cupcake tray liners. So the first thing you're going to need to do is take your white printer paper and you need 4 even strips cut the lengthwise. So you need 4 long strips. I have mine pre-cut, so I'm not going to cut any off of this sheet. Probably about 3/4 of an inch wide. And then you need the same amount, 4 strips cut from the short edge of the other piece of paper. Like I said, those are my long ones. I have short ones already pre-cut. So, step 1, you take your 4 long strips, line them all up, so nice and even, and then we're going to fold them in half just as a guide for what we're going to do with them. So now you've got 4 pieces of paper that have creases in them that you can use as markers. So we're going to glue 2 of these pieces together to form a cross, gluing a center crease of one across the center crease of another, just like this, so that they're as even as possible. And then another long strip, glued on the diagonal. Like that. And then the very last one. So you want to try to glue them together in the middle so that your spaces, your V shapes, are about the same distance apart. So we've got one, and it looks like a snowflake. And we can go ahead and do the same thing with the shorter ones. Fold them in half so you can sort of eyeball where the middle of your pieces of paper are. And if it's not exact, it's not going to be a giant deal. So, if you're wondering, an easier way to get them fairly even is to make a cross out of 2 of them, make a cross out of the other 2, using those center markers. So now you've got 2 X's, and then you can just glue them together like that. So now we've got a giant snowflake and a smaller snowflake. And now we need to make snowballs out of our snowflakes. So, taking one side, put a little bit of glue, and you take the opposite strip and you glue it closed. And then we're going to swivel it, and we're going to do the same thing. This time we're going to glue it to the top of the hoop that we've just made there, trying to keep your overlap about the same so that when we are done, we end up, see what we are making? It's going to end up being a paper ball. You guys may have made these before. They're a fairly simple craft that you can customize to, like Halloween. You can make pumpkins out of them with different colored paper. But since we made snowflakes, we're actually going to build a snowman out of our paper balls. So we've got one paper ball done. Now we need to do, see, the same thing with our smaller one. You can increase the overlap on this one a little bit because we want it to be a little bit of a smaller one, because it's actually going to be the head of our snowman. Just keep gluing those ends in. You can make a pile of these and string them on a line and hang them in your house. Make them for holiday gifts or just because gifts. I like the just because gift. Or just because I like cute things in my house. It's another reason for making them. He's not perfect, but I don't really care. So now we have 2 snowballs, one big, one small. And we're gonna put some glue on the top of our big snowball. And we are going to glue the small snowball right on top of that. If you reach in, you can give it a good pinch and it should stick fairly well. Oh, he's kind of a wonky snowman. He's not standing up straight, but we will correct that at the end. So now our little snowman needs some eyes. That was a hard thing to open. And some buttons. So you can draw some buttons down the front. You could use colored markers for this too if you want to. I just happened to grab a black marker. But you definitely want, see these little buttons? Black for the eyes. So you make 2 little eyes, unless you want more than 2 eyes, which is perfectly okay. And a series of dots for the little snowman's mouth. And now we're going to cut an elongated triangle shape, just like this one, out of orange paper to be our snowman's nose. Make it shaped like a carrot. And we can glue that. Pointing sideways. Oh, mine's at a jaunty angle. Look at that. He's got his nose up in the air. Now we need a scarf for our snowman. I think I want a blue scarf. So you can just cut along the long edge a strip of paper. And if you want, you could make some fringes on it by cutting snips up. I'm going to make mine have a little ribbon edge like this by cutting a triangle out of it. And on the other side as well. Yeah. And then wrap it around your snowman's neck and kind of cross it in the front. It's not going to be able to be tight like a regular scarf would be tied, but you can cross it around and glue it shut and it will stay on there. There. See? And now for his hat, which is like super easy. Even if you don't have fancy cupcake liners like this, just take a white one and you can flatten it out and decorate it and then put it back on. But to put his hat on, just some glue inside the cupcake liner. Slap it on his head. Now, he's not going to want to stand up because he's round. So you need some kind of a base. I have a whole bin full of scraps of cardstock and I'm going to use some gold cardstock. Just put some glue in the middle. And set your snowman down on it and hold it in the middle. Press it down around. Make quite a wide swath of glue on your piece of cardstock or your heavier paper that you're using at the bottom, and then he should stand up just like that. And here's his friend. I made a trial one. See what I mean about the fringes? If you just snip up the paper a bit, you end up with a nice fringe edge for your snowman's scarf. And if you do want to hang them up, I would suggest taking a needle and thread, and before you glue their hats on, just sew a loop of string through that and then glue his hat on and you can hang him from his hat. And then you wouldn't even need the base either. So thanks guys and happy crafting. We'll see you again next week.